Hello everyone, it's nice to see you. Hope all of you are enjoying your day. I know for me it's a little wet and cold and snowy outside. That's what I get for living in Iowa. But today I wanted to do something a little bit more personal, a little bit more serious. So I've done a handful of videos of this on my channel, and it has to do with Turner syndrome. But it's not specifically with Turner syndrome. It's IVF, which is in vitro fertilization, which is the process of basically egg donation. So, or like sperm donation, or like, when you have to use a lab to medically mix someone's sperm and egg and inseminate into someone else because the person can't get pregnant, whether because of one reason or another, the normal way. So, one of the hospitals in Iowa does IVF, and I wanted to get some information a while ago about it just to know kind of the process and the pricing and kind of just get an idea of what the heck it even is. And I realized I didn't really share much about that itself. And so I wanted to get ahead on that. I wanted to start it by talking about 2 pamphlets they gave me about egg donation banks. So there are egg donation banks that store eggs and give out eggs to those who need them for the IVF process. So this is Fairfax Egg Bank. So this talks about the process, how it works. You search their website and browse our free egg donor profiles. You create a personal account and save your top egg donor selections. And you see the donor of your dreams. You email this to connect with your dedicated coordinator who will provide full support in coordinating the donor match with your client once you're ready to move forward. And then our lab team will coordinate with your clinic's lab team to arrange the overnight shipment of your eggs from their central facility to your clinic where you're doing the procedure. And then this talks about how only 3 out of every 1,000 applicants pass our genetic, medical, and psychological testing to become donors. So that's good to know. The robust donor profiles on our website include medical history across 3 family generations, childhood and professional adult photos, personal essays and audio interviews, academic and personal achievements, beliefs, aspirations, and hobbies. Okay, so that's pretty legit. This place is in Virginia. And then this is Cyro Banks Eggs donor. And this talks about their stuff. How with the egg lot only program, you will receive 6 to 8 mature eggs at your fertility practice, like where you're getting the procedure done. This plan is $14,500. Dang. Wow. Okay. That's crazy. So this place that I'm getting it looked into says that there are 3 scheduled fees for the IVF process that they have attached. So let's look at this. Okay, so this is the total for them, and it says, please note, does not include agency or donor fees. So I'm assuming that this is completely separate, like the donor fees are completely separate. $13,300. Dang. This includes things, all the stuff like ultrasounds and the procedure and stuff, but like I said, not that. And this is kind of the application, preliminary appointment data form. Oh, this is for the donor. So technically I wouldn't be filling this out because I'm not going to be the donor in this circumstance. For me, I would be taking the donor's egg. I would have to use a donor egg. So we would have to use my fiance's sperm and mix it with the donor's egg. And then, so once they collect her egg, they would mix it with my fiance's sperm in the lab and then inseminate into my body, and I would carry it. But it talks about some of the process that it goes through, collecting. It talks about all the pre-stuff and looking at the pre-interview and application, looking at all they have psychological issues and evaluations, and also for all three of you, like the donor and the male and female receiving. So like me and Blake and I would also have to do this with also looking at physical health, and all things like, if all our vaccines and all our health, and making sure that this process will be worth it. Like we're all three in good condition to go along with this. Because even though like Blake isn't carrying the kid, his health and his sperm do matter, obviously. They will talk about meeting with the IVF nurse and creating a treatment cycle schedule, and meeting with the IVF financial counselor, doing preliminary evaluation, going through his complete history and physical exam, blood test, pelvic ultrasound, taking labs, and meeting with a psychologist, crazy stuff. Okay, they do evaluation of the male patient. They talk about it because of sperm donation and that process, but I don't want to really get into that. So they have to collect and do all that. I don't want to get too personal. Gross. And then this is the crazy part. Simulation and monitoring. Fertility drugs that mimic the body's natural hormones are given daily by injection in hopes that 3 or more eggs will develop during the treatment cycle. In general, the more eggs fertilized, the better chance of pregnancy. So they have a lot of shots that she will be taking. So that's crazy. Sorry, like all this stuff is like so weird. It's crazy, like this whole okay. So this talks about the actual procedure that I will be going through. So the woman is positioned on her back with legs resting up. Oh my gosh. Embryos and small amount of culture media are drawn up into a transfer catheter. The transfer catheter is threaded through the cervical canal to the uterus where the embryos are deposited. and is done under ultrasound guidance. The woman will be kept flat on her back for 5 minutes in the recovery room and asked to continue to rest for the remainder of the day completely. Activity after transfer, you have no activity or lifting restrictions unless you have been instructed differently. You should avoid intercourse until further discussions or on pregnancy testing day at least. Daily progesterone injections are prescribed beginning the day of retrieval, continuing daily until the results of pregnant tests are known. Depending on your protocol and lab results on the pregnancy day, these injections may continue up to 8 weeks. 10 weeks of transferring embryos, preserved embryos. Pregnancy test approximately 10 days after the embryo transfer. And, to double check. Dang. Okay, wow. IVF couples report feeling isolated both during the earlier infertility treatment and during the IVF process. Many have kept the decision to obtain infertility treatment a secret from family and friends, people who are otherwise be a source of support. It is necessary to stay in a motel during IVFs. Being in a strange city away from familiar comforts increase feeling of being alone. Many report feelings of desperation, believing this is their last chance, and couples must perform a balance. They have to keep their expectations realistic while keeping enough hope to carry out the treatment. I think that goes along with, when you hear, you've probably heard the saying, people who want to get pregnant, as soon as they stop trying, that's when they get pregnant. That's kind of what, you got to be realistic that it may not work, but you got to have enough hope that you don't damage the process for those who believe that can affect it. Some people think that's a bunch of hogwash. Some people don't. So, and then I also want to go through, let's say what it says to help. Then let's look through the list of things that people. There are laboratory personnel, nursing staff, medical assistants, financial counselor, ultrasound technician, scheduling person, health psychologist, financial counselor, IVF nurse coordinator, staff nurse. Wow. Okay. I do want to talk about real quick go over the preliminary data appointment form for the donor. It wants their name, their date, their mailing address, phone number, their partner's phone number. Have you previously been a patient there? Are you in the military? Have you been seen at a VA hospital? Please list your physician's first and last name and information. Have you had a sterilization procedure or reversal? And all that. Let's look at, and then testing requirements. Individual visits for a psychologist will be for all 3 people. Sign confidentiality forms. Must obtain separate and independent legal representation. Financial responsibility. Oh my goodness. So this be crazy. And this just goes to show, this is just a sample of some of this stuff. But, it's just crazy to think of all the pain and this whole process. Like, it just shines the light on what some people have to go through. And take in mind how this $1,400 process could not work very easily, but it could very easily work depending on the circumstance. But there's a lot of people who have gone through IVF. Heard stories of people who have gone through IVF a couple of times because it didn't work the first time. So, like, it's a lot. So I just want to kind of shed some light on that. Thank you for watching. Please pray for all these people who are like me and need to go through this process and are dealing with infertilization. Please subscribe. Love you all. Bye.